I'm so glad to take a second and welcome back our presenting sponsors and Marc Anidjar and Joshua Molandes from Anidjar and Levine, accident attorneys. But I've gotten to know you here through the weeks, through the past few months. And as we kick off a new year, I want to get to know where the passion came from to help people as accident attorneys now.
First and foremost, Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year is right.
Year, new me. The irony is sometimes you fall into your job. Like you don't even realize that it happens.
Yeah.
I always had a tendency to, advocate for my position, but in reality, when I first graduated, I didn't want to even be a lawyer. I wanted to be a chef.
Really?
And I kept telling my father that's what I wanted to do. And ultimately, my dad coerced me and said, how about this? If you go to law school,
okay,
I will help you open up a restaurant if you want to do that. Right? So that was obviously my motivation. And then I went into law school and I never turned back. So the irony is sometimes there is some dumb luck in falling into your trade. But I think at the end of the day, everything happens for a reason. And I think that's kind of what ultimately got me there.
Well, I'm curious, Mark. I mean, I've gotten to know you and you have offices all around the state of Florida, including Joshua's in Fort Myers, which we're going to touch on. Does this mean, though, you get to put your chef hat on still and like cook for all of your offices or no?
I keep telling my wife when I retire, I'm opening up a restaurant. So that would be the deal.
It's
and it'll be in the Tampa Bay area, and I'll make sure that you guys are our first table.
Yeah. And I'm going to expect a whole lot better food at the holiday parties now.
I love that. There you go. And Joshua, though, really, I mean, you are from Fort Myers. You're in the Fort Myers office, and that's just part of the philosophy is helping all residents of Florida dealing with accidents. So what was it that kind of motivated you personally to even come here, be a part of this firm, but also go into law? Yeah,
well, thank you for the question. I think for me, and even similar is my background, I wanted to go to medical school. I wanted to be a surgeon.
Really?
Through some family health problems, it didn't quite work out. But what ended up being is me asking the dean of, the pre-law program, who happened to be an acting judge back in Texas. And, she said, well, who wouldn't want to have you as a personal injury attorney? I mean, that's really how it happened. He's like, you understand some of the medicine. What injured person wouldn't want you looking through their medical records and trying to come up with a pathway to victory? And so through some, then going and looking to see how long it would take to become a lawyer versus how long it was going to take to do other things, we chose law and ended up in Naples, and then happened to meet this fantastic guy, and the rest is history, as you might say.
You know what? I'm curious, guys. I have these moments with my job. This is something I've always wanted to do. And I have those moments where like, oh, I remember back when I couldn't wait to get here. And that's get all touchy-feely on you. But I'm going to go there. Do you guys still have those moments when you help clients and when you're at home at night and resting, say, this is why I do what I do? Do you still have those?
So my wife jokes with me because in the middle of the night, sometimes I'll talk in my sleep and she'll say, she's like, I'm not a secretary. You tell me to pass the file in the middle of your sleep. So you ultimately, when something becomes your passion, you start living and breathing it and even dreaming it at night.
Yeah.
So that's the reality. And even for, like we talked earlier, I think in one of your other segments about the scholarships and kids trying to figure out what they want to do with their life. Two examples of people who started off thinking their path was going to go one way and wound up in a completely different area. And that's completely okay. I tell that to my kids all the time. You might think this is what you want to do, but then you're going to fall into a job that you're just going to love, and that's what's going to happen. So I think that's the reality of life in general. People plan and God laughs, and ultimately you do what you wind up doing. So I think that's kind of how you stumble into reality sometimes.
And of course, as accident attorneys, you're helping people at one of their most vulnerable, stressful times in their life. And I'm assuming you still get that, that satisfaction when the job is done and knowing that you have helped those people. Joshua, you've been smiling and shaking your head right along with the conversation.
Yeah, it's something very special, to be tasked to do something that people can't do on their own. When that person can't stand up for themselves, and you really get to step in their shoes and stand up and have that fight that either they may not know how to do or physically and emotionally can't do it. So I'd say that there's nothing else out there that I would rather do than to be involved in this career path, to be able to help as many people as we possibly can, and to actually to love them, not just to get to know them, but part of being an attorney is being a counselor and really getting to talk them through very hard times. As a matter of fact, on the way in here, Mark was on the phone with one of our lovely clients and walking through a very, very hard step where a family member was injured, and he's able to pick up the phone, right then and there and handle that problem. And you can hear her voice on the other side being, very loving and very thankful. So I couldn't do anything else if I wanted to.
And a lot of times you just have to articulate the response, because people are going through a tragedy and they don't even identify that that's what's happening at the moment.
Yeah.
So when you articulate the emotions, I even told her, I'm like, when we first met, I told you might see some of these things happen. I was just cluing you in because I anticipated that they were going to come about, and now we're having this conversation. So she recalled that conversation and it kind of said, okay, I see what you're talking about. So sometimes that experience of being able to walk them through that episode, it kind of alleviates some of the stress associated with it, because now they're like, okay, I understand why it's happening and I see why this is taking place. And now when they approach that problem next time, they're doing it a little bit in a better, softer way.
Well, gentlemen, I'm so glad we were able to talk about this today. Unfortunately, we are out of time. Let's go ahead, share your contact information. And again, we are proud to have the law offices of Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorneys as our presenting sponsor for the show. And if you've been injured in an accident, well, of course, give them a call. The law offices of Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorneys. There's the phone number. There's the website. Again, guys, thanks for your time.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.